So I think you all should be able to hear me. No shouldn't be a problem. I think you all can see the screen, right? So let's get started. Now, this one's actually this particular so-called lecture presentation should have been done at the start before your first lecture, because by the way, as I've stated in the Google Classroom, you are encouraged to turn on your camera, at least for this first so-called quote unquote first lecture, because I think in my parents told me last time, but my mother and father told me last time, it's always polite to introduce yourself. So this is by way of introduction, but again, of course, this is the so-called the second week of lecture. So at least you know who I am, but I don't know who you are. So you are more than welcome to actually turn on your camera. At least I can see who you are, because it will be very rude of me if I see you next time. I think eventually the country will open up, the world will open up, and then you see me and you wave to me, smile at me, for example, and I don't know who you are. So it's a bit impolite, to put it nicely, or rather rude of me to actually ignore you. So basically, that's my intention of inviting you to turn on your camera. That's all. So of course, if you don't feel comfortable, it's okay. So let's get started. We have a bit of a, so it's more of a, look at this, more of a chit chat. So don't worry too much. So basically, again, let's get started. Where am I? So hopefully all of you can hear me. I know that GA can hear me already. So this morning we checked my audio system and I checked this microphone, so it's working. Also, I checked my phones, it's working. So this is the disclaimer. This material, the same goes for all the lectures, are only for you to refer, right? Because they also contain certain links, certain references, certain images which may be copyrighted. But even though it's copyrighted, as long as I use it not for non-commercial, for education purposes, I'm allowed to do that, right? So please be careful if you want to share this around to other people or other friends or whatever, right? So when you're free, look at this. So this is the Google Classroom. In case you are not aware of this, I know that some of you may not be aware of this, because please check your Google Classroom. I know you have signed up, but please check once in a while. I'm not sure, because when I send out things, you should be able to receive it, but again, some of you did not receive it. Because I think the other day I posted change in the schedule yesterday, because although I plan to have a replacement class for next Wednesday, unfortunately, I think clashes with the workshop, which I thought there'd be no workshop so early, but apparently the workshop was organized and then Dr. Hadi gave a talk yesterday. But I still find that some of you were not aware of that, and they came into the classroom, the lecture at about 9 o'clock. So sorry about that. Miscommunication. So it's always a major problem in terms of miscommunication. So these are the 3 Google links of Google Classrooms that I've organized for this particular paper, EEH 4413. So the lecture, the tutorials, laboratories are all in separate links, so that at least we don't clash. Because the first time we did this, or rather the first time I did this, I only use one link, one Google link. So I thought it's easier. So the lab will use it, the lectures will use it, tutorials will use it. But unfortunately, some of you are very disciplined and you like to come to the class early. So, but unfortunately, since you're using the same Google Meet link, you come into the class and the class is still ongoing, right? So I thought it's not very nice for me to interrupt the earlier class. So I separate the 3 classes, so at least you know. But unfortunately, on the other point is that the disadvantage is that you have to remember, at least remember. Or the other way is you can plan it in your Google Calendar. I'm using Google Calendar, so please, if you are not using it, please use it. It's very convenient, help you to organize your things. So at least you know. You can also set on, for example, tutorial, right? You only once every 2 weeks, you can also set that to remind yourself, and then you put the link there. So just click on the link, especially if you're using a handphone for this kind of lectures and tutorials. Okay. Now, let's in the good old days, I call it good old days, when you actually can see each other face to face. So this will be a very good topic for us to have a discussion, right? I will call each of you up, and I can still call you up, but again, some of you may choose to ignore me, and don't pretend not to be there, don't answer, because you're on the other side of the internet, so you choose to be silent, quiet, and don't answer, ignore me. So basically, I'm asking you, why are you here? So the question is, if you're not here, what do you think you'll be doing? Anyone want to volunteer? If you are still very shy, you can type it up. I will check and see your answer. Or you're one of those who don't even want to share your thinking with your classmates. Right? Let's not be so inward looking. Let's share. Let's talk. Communicate. Anyone? It's okay. Tell me what you think. Have you all considered this? If you're not here, if you're not studying for this degree, what do you think you'll be doing since you finish your Form 5 after your SPM? You'll be working or what? Anyone? Just to share with you, the first class was quite I think your classmates. RE4 was one of them actually was very honest. He said, or maybe half joking. He said that probably I'll be a waiter. I think what he meant was that, and then his friend told him, this person actually want to serve the public, want to serve people, right? Nice person. But I think what he's trying to say is that because after Form 5, since you do not have a skill, yes, you're Form 5, but times have changed. Unlike your parents' days and my time, my classmate, because due to family circumstances, that means that his family couldn't afford to sponsor him for further studies. So after the Form 5, so you're actually educated, right? It's not as if you're not educated. So actually, those days, your parents' days and my time, we can actually work. So my friend, my classmate, ex-classmate, actually went out to work as a accounts clerk, right? So he worked there. So with the certificate from the school, actually those days you can work. But as I said before, times have changed, meaning that now you cannot, because even if you have a degree, you'll be fighting for a place, for a job, right? For a job, of course, for a job that pays well. So that's why I think your classmates said that as a waiter, right? I think what I'm trying to say is that he has to earn, do something, right? And then you are here, you are studying electronic engineering. Question is, among so many papers, you study mathematics, right? You study digital logic. Jumin, welcome. Good morning. You study analog electronics. You study what else? You study maybe thermodynamics and so on and so forth. Embedded systems, right? C++ programming. Why this particular paper? Right? So it's like eating your mixed rice. You can select what you want. But why do we select this for you? Have you considered that? And that's why, in a way, I'm also asking you, you should question everything. Of course, nicely. Don't be aggressive and challenge the lecturer. Sir, why do I need to study this paper? Right? I'm trying to open up your mind. Right? Because education, to me, I believe, is not only about remembering technical subjects. You must also learn certain things along the way, which will help you in your career, in your life next time. Right? You pick up those kind of things. You should be actually, in a way, some believe that it is even more important than study technical subjects. Do you all know that? Have you heard that? When is it? Welcome. Have you heard of what we call analog computer? You know what that is? Anyone?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Good. Thank you, Jie and Xin Xian. Thank you for participating, right? Because it's kind of boring for me to talk to the screen, right? I'm just talking to a monitor, right? At least when you all help me out, Need also not so bored. Those days, when I did my so-called my post secondary school education, you understand what I'm trying to say later on. Actually, you can connect capacitors, you can connect integrate, you can connect what do you call that? Sorry, capacitor. Sorry, inductors, and then form them, connect them together to be your computer. That was 1970s, right? Long time, isn't it? But now that is gone because technology changes. So what I'm trying to say is that technology will change, but at this point in time, this is important. Mathematics is important. Your whatever topics you're studying in your other papers are important, but things may change. So in my case, my example here is that after a while, the analog computers did not fly, did not take off. So as a result, it was dropped, right? No use. So even if you ask you to study, when you go out to work, it's not so useful. On the reverse side, Mei Lin, are you there? Now to pick one of you one by one. You see, Mei Lin, are you there? Maybe she. Okay, right. No, what's my question? So question is, for this particular paper, the analog. So sorry, I forgot that what was the question. I'll come back to you later on. Now, okay, let me see. So I'll ask you why, if you're not here, what do you think you'll be doing? And so I checked with. I think the line is not stable for some of you. So I checked with some of you. I also talked to certain people, especially during the what I call open day. I talked to young people like yourself who said, I want to do a degree. So we find that some of you say that you just follow your friends. So after the Form 5, and then when your friends study, want to join this place called Tunku Abdurrahman Music College, right? Either in Penang or in Kuala Lumpur, you just follow them, right? And since you have no idea what you want to do after SPM, you just go with the flow. So I think your parents maybe might recommend, or you so happen you look at you went online, or you I don't think they advertise on the TV. They're not there. So we also have what do you call it, online. What else? We newspapers. We also advertise, not to say advertise. Okay, we advertise on it. And these are not newspapers. I'm not sure about Chinese papers because I cannot speak. I cannot read Chinese Mandarin. So maybe that's why you just say, okay, this looks interesting. Let me try to do that. Now, for a few of you, now why do I say the word few of you? I think not. Some of you may not be sure what you want to do. So for some of you, you say, I want to be an engineer. So you look around and see where can I study to become engineer, right? Based on your capability, especially financial capability. Now, some of you want to study engineering because you find that you can change the world by giving the world certain technical solutions to the world problems, right? Among the problems is, I think we look around, if you've been reading up in the internet or other places, you find that there are, I think, United Nations have identified a few global problems, targets or whatever, challenges. Among them is energy, right? Energy, the carbon-based energy will be running out eventually. And then the world also, there's a climate change. So what solutions can you do? Can you provide to alleviate, to avoid those problems? And of course, some of you say, I want to be rich. Engineers, you believe they can be rich, right? So you're right. Engineers can be rich. I always ask the same question all the time in this particular preliminary lecture. Anyone from Penang? Chia, are you from Penang?
No, so I'm from Terengganu. I think I can point up like Lu Jiamin,
Okay.
Han Xiang, they're all from Penang a lot.
Okay, good. Nevertheless, thank you, Chia. Nevertheless, Leong Ho, is it? Uh, recently the newspaper published a list of 100 richest people in Malaysia. I think the top 20, one of the people in the top 20, actually two of them are from Penang. They're actually the, what should I put the word there? They started two companies in Penang, and now they are rich, very rich. That's why they are the top, I think 20 richest people in Malaysia. And when I say richer, I'm not talking about millions. I'm not talking about millions. I'm talking about billion. B, right? Xinjiang, any idea? They are from Penang. Malaysian
No.
companies. Yes. Anyone? Xinjiang? Any idea? Name the company.
Sorry, sir. What was the question?
The question is, okay, the top 20, among the top 20 richest people in Malaysia, two of them are from Penang. What do they do? Anyone?
I have no idea, sir.
Never mind, it's okay. It's good to say no idea. Anyone? Maylin, since you're from Penang, close to your home. Anyone else? Want to try? Yes means okay. Never mind. No, it's okay. It's okay to say it. You don't know. Don't be embarrassed. I'll explain to you why it's okay to say you don't know. The two companies they are billions worth billions. That means that how should I put it? 100,000 to spend on a car is nothing. It's just like 5 cents to you and me, right? Because you are so rich, billionaire. The two companies they're engineers. Bitrox and Red Tech. Red Tech is a supporter of our faculty. They actually give us money to buy. They give us 3,000. Again, it's nothing. 3,000 for them is nothing. For us to buy equipment, to sponsor, to support FIP. Sorry. To support FIP. So they bought a few cameras, expensive cameras. We bought a few other things to support your work. So those of you who want to work with these big companies, learn from them. So after I think next semester, during the long sem, I want to apply for that. They're also interested to hire some of you to join them, and a few of your seniors have joined them. So it's a great place to work. So the next one is I want to have a better life for my family and myself, right? So you know that if you don't have nowadays, if you don't have a degree, even if you have a degree, it can be quite tough to find a job. So of course, if you don't have degrees, even worse. So you have a difficulty, work very hard to get to pay your bills, and so have a comfortable life. Okay, so what's so good? Can you scan this particular QR code? I want you to answer why you are here. What's the reason for you to take up engineering? Let me try to open up and check the results for you. So I'll give you a few minutes. Let me, meanwhile, I'll check. They open up the thing whether I've opened up I call this a fun quiz. To check. Okay, I open up. So let's see. Can you all scan and answer the questions? It's only, I think, only one question. Very simple. It's just multiple choice. Just pick the answer. So I can see there's nobody have actually submitted answer yet. Anyone with difficulty cannot sign in, cannot access this particular code, or the code is corrupted, we find, isn't it? Let me try. Let's see whether anyone. So still not moving. The numbers moving is still 33 from the two classes before. Why are you here? I think I've given you the it's a question. So you're here. Okay, I see that. And of course you some of you actually say that the link. Okay. Let me try and give you the link. I want to give you the link. I think you want to scan. Just want to scan your problem, right? Understandable. Thank you. Okay. Let me see. I copy this and I'll come here. Put it here. So actually, look at it. Actually, if you don't mind, it's actually faster. Look at it. Engineers want to do things faster. If you type it out, it's actually slower. So actually, it's faster to just open your mic and say, "Sir, can you give us a link?" Okay, there you go. GA, I can actually reduce it, shorten it in Google Classroom or sort like that, Google Form, right? Okay, let me go back to the thing and see the results or not. One have replied. Once in the past, some of the other students who actually participated in this survey because families say you must study to become engineer, right? Yeah, I think two of them actually say that. And then one of you said that now the name sounds very nice, you called engineer, right? But one of you said that your good friend is here, that's why you're here. And then one of you also very honest, said, I don't know, I really don't know why I'm here, but I'm here, right? Okay, I'll leave the thing for you to continue. I no time, right? Not to talk about. So I'll not look at it, and then maybe the next class tomorrow I will share with you the results. Okay, now let's continue. So, okay, now this one I just sort of pick up this one, and this was actually on 20th of June, not too long ago, right? Last month, about 10 days ago. It's quite fresh. Now, this is a self-made millionaire. So this lady is quite rich. She's a millionaire. But when she was young, before she was a millionaire, she started by working very hard. How hard did she do? How hard was it? She had to clean houses, physical work, right? Physical work, and that cleaning houses, in the near future, some of these things can be replaced by intelligent systems, AI. And also, she makes some money working hard by washing dishes. Now, what did she learn from that? As I grew older, I realized how difficult it was for my parents to raise 8 of us with just farming. It's a family, parents are farmers, so it's tough work. Early morning, rise up, then wake up, and then go to do the farming. So therefore, she realized that she had to study hard to transform her life as well as her parents. And eventually, she also studied hard. She got a place in at the university to study for a degree, right? So again, the main message is a degree, right? Is a ticket for you to have a better life, right? For yourself, not only for yourself, also for your parents, right? Your loved ones. Now, once you identify that why you're here, so what is the process of transforming you to become engineers? So in the old days, as shown in the picture here, we have this apprenticeship system. What is it? The apprenticeship is a system of training a new generation of practitioners, someone who practice, who actually trade or profession with on-the-job training, and maybe sometimes some accompanying study, some theory. So this is one example. This is a cobbler making shoes. You can see this older gentleman here teaching the young person to make shoes. Of course, in the old days, you don't start Form 5 will be 17 years, maybe younger. You can see, I think this young is about maybe 12 or 13 years old, right? So when you start to able to 12, 13, you're quite okay, quite young, quite mature. So you start to learn early. I think even in the 60s, 70s, in our Asian or Malaysian society, we have that as well, right? So especially the parents cannot afford to send you to school, so you have to come out and work. Because you can't be just hanging around doing nothing. So that's how you train. Become in this case, a cobbler. Now, as time goes on, more and more people want to pick up a profession, a skill, right? The skill here is making shoes. So as more and more people want to do it, so you can see here, this master, this Sifu, this expert will then mentor, will teach more students now, not just one. Now you can see there's 4 of them. In this case, you can see the expert here is trying to teach the 4 of this gentleman here about this vacuum compressor, right? So it's again hands-on to show you on the job training. So, but fast forward to nowadays, even the 1990s, for example, right? As more and more young people want to pick up a skill, right? So we can't do it by having lecturers, each of you falling. And then the lecturers or the teachers or experts cannot explain everything. For example, certain lecturers, Miss Yo, is IRU is good at certain areas. Maybe she's good at what does IRU teach you? Any idea? What I'm willing to share? Maybe she's not teaching you, or Dr. Programming, teaching you about the microprocessors, right? So programming cannot be teaching on mathematics, for example. So each of us has a specialization. We're good at certain areas, so we teach you certain things. That's why you follow. So we have these classes, and then we have a lot of theory, and then the practice will be in the labs. So that's why we are here. We are trying to take up a skill for you to live next time, earn a living by doing that. Okay? Then it's all about learning, right? It's all about learning, but what does it mean to learn? How do you learn? Right? So I think maybe you may not realize it. So I believe that learning, what's learning? Learning is a process of acquiring new or modifying existing knowledge, behavior, skills, values, or even preferences. So actually, you're picking up new knowledge, right? So in this particular example, for this the next 12 weeks, you'll be looking at picking up new knowledge in artificial intelligence. So you must be willing to accept new things, right? Because you know nothing in this area, right? So as I said before, it's okay you say that I do not know, sir, who is the richest person from Penang, right? Because maybe you didn't see in the newspaper. So it's okay. Same thing with you. You ask me certain things. What is the best store that sells char kway teow in Penang? I say, I don't know. It is perfectly all right to say, I don't know. I mean, does it mean that you are not so smart? Maybe you don't know all these things. It's fine, right? So again, as far as AI is concerned, it should be new for you. Although some of you believe that you have some knowledge, that's fine. But you may not know certain things. Do you know what is a swarm intelligence? Do you know what is a fuzzy logic? Do you know who is Mandani? Who is Sugaino? Example, right? So you don't know. It's okay, right? So I want to test. Why? I want to know what you know. So that I know what you know. I can fill up what you don't know, right? It's like filling up, catching up. You have this knowledge, but I want you at the end of the day, at the end of 40 minutes, you should know this. So I know that you know this, so I can then know that what you don't know, I will fill up those areas you don't know. But that's where I'm coming from, right? So attitude, you must have attitude to learn. So what you know may not be correct. For example, what you know, for example, you find that it's okay to turn off your camera, for example. But again, may not be so good because you may not learn, right? Because why I want you to turn your camera? Because in some cases, at least in the past, last year, there was one student actually accidentally turned on his camera. He didn't know that. He was lying in bed listening to my lecture. And then somehow accidentally, I think he kicked something and the camera turned on. The whole class saw that he was lying on bed, relaxing. I think someone eventually told him, your camera is turned on, sir can see you. So he quickly turned it off, right? And know why you're here. You are here because you want to learn. You're not here to, how should I put it? It is to learn. You're not here like watching a movie, right? That's why I asked you, why are you here? If you're not here, what do you think you're doing? If you're not attending this tutorial today, what do you think you do? You'll be having breakfast, you're having a nice time with someone else, for example. Going out, there's no MCO, going out there to buy breakfast, to have a chit chat or maybe running around, jogging exercise, exercising, things like that. So, next thing is, you may be asked to do things in a new way, right? Ding dong, welcome. So, this is attitude. So, sometimes you are asked to do this a certain way, you may not like it, right? So, for example, lectures. I think lectures start at 8 o'clock, especially for my lectures. I like to wake up early. So we say, this Dr. Lai he started so early, difficult for me because I sleep late. So this is asking you to change your way of doing things in the past, because you're comfortable doing that. Things may be different. Imagine next time, your company start at 8:30, especially if you're driving to work. right? You need to start early on, right? And I think that it's a bad thing. I know last time I worked in the government. Some of the people, my CEO, Chief Executive Officer, president of my company, actually was angry. He said, 8:30 you come to 8 o'clock you come to work, and then 8:30 when the work's supposed to start, you go to the canteen and enjoy some coffee and breakfast. Only 9 o'clock you come back to your desk to work. Right? I pay you to work, not to come in to enjoy breakfast. Right? My previous company is so big, has a canteen. So 8:30 we walk down there, they see a lot of people hanging around, enjoying the coffee, enjoying the teh tarik, enjoying the nasi lemak, things like that. So my CEO was angry. He said, no, wasting time. I want you to work. I pay you to work, not to come in and enjoy coffee. So this is what I'm talking about, changing the way you do things. Right? If you have suppose your lectures here, you listen to the lecturer because you are learning. I'm not learning. I'm trying to share with you this. I'm trying to teach you. I'm not here to, I'm not an actor. This is not a movie. Right? It's for you to learn. Right? And most important of all, the third point I want to highlight again, stress again. Communicate. What does communicate means? Ask questions when you do not understand. Many of you are shy. I know that because last time I was young too, so it's better to keep quiet, right? But again, if you see, once you ask things, open your mouth and ask things, you are actually changing the way which you are comfortable. So I'm asking you to ask questions. Communication is at least I'm trying to share with you my knowledge from my books and also myself. But you must also communicate because I do not know what you do not know. That is very important for me. I want you to learn to do well in this paper at least. So other papers I can't say much, but in this paper I want you to learn, and I do not know what you do not know. So if you say that at the end of the 14 weeks and you don't do well in your paper, you say you blame the lecturer. Is it fair or not? Right? Because I want you to learn. I'm not here to fail you. I want you to pass. Right? So please ask questions when you don't understand, especially in the current situation where it's all online. Right? Some of you actually can be doing other things. You just log in, sign up for this tutorial, and then you go away, right? So I don't know whether you're listening to me or doing other things. So please communicate if you're not clear. I will try my best to answer you, right? Now, let's try this. I like Apple. What do you think I mean? Anyone? Let me see who should I invite. I put invite. Don't feel bad. Just because I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. Yi Chi is it? Yi Chi is it? What do you mean when I say I like Apple? Just say anything. Okay. You see, that's why it's a problem here. Yes, you are here. So what do you mean by I like Apple? I want to see how you type it out, the answer. You can see it's not easy to type out the answer. Maybe what? See? Maybe. I said, I like Apple. What do you mean? Are you saying that I like Apple? Maybe I like Apple or maybe you don't. I like Apple. You like Apple. I like Apple. Right? Anyone else? Yeah. Any thoughts? Yang Chang, any thoughts? Yang Chang?
MacBook,
Yes.
Apple brand.
Correct. Yeah, sharp. Thank you. Yang Chang, any comments? You're very early. Good. Good. Maybe want to comment? Open up your microphone. No. Okay. Never mind. Okay. Level. Good. Because level is maybe I'll call you good in English because I know the popular saying an apple a day makes a doctor away, right? So it's bad. But can I say that Dr. Lai is bad in English? Dr. Lai is bad in English. Why? Why do I say that? Because you see, look at it closely. I like Apple. Is it correct grammar? Actually, I should say I like apples. Plural, right? Why singular? First thing I pick up it. Something not right. Either Dr. Lai's English is bad or something not right here. Let's try this. If I change this now, the same three words, I change this, which is TA's point. Right? I like apple. It's more like it. Apple is not apples, right? It's a brand. Now, see the difference. This one, this one. So if I say this to a class, just now you can see already, I have different answers. What does this mean? It means there's actually miscommunication. Same thing in class. When I say certain things, I know what I'm saying. Actually, I meant this. But when I say I like apple, you can't see it, whether this is this or this, right? So what does it mean? It means miscommunication. So when I say I like apple, I got 3 or 4 different answers. Same thing in class. When I say certain things, you might get the wrong message, and that's why you may not do well in your exam. Understand? So that's why I advise you, encourage you, plead with you, please ask questions. It's okay to ask, at least in my class. Moving along. Right. So we learn better, faster when we frequently ask questions because you are trying to align your thinking so that you fill up things that is not meant to do. It's also when you ask questions, it's also preparing you for future career when you're working as a professional, when speaking in public is normal. So at least you know, right? You have to voice it up. You can't be shy. You can't keep quiet. If the boss is having a meeting, right? And the boss says, after this, go out and buy apple. Then some of you may go and buy apples as a fruit for your boss, for the manager, and some of you might buy a Apple iPad or Apple phone. Right? So you look at it. So because you don't ask questions to clarify, you go up and do the wrong thing. Right? And you know that when you ask questions, because especially when you're shy, you will not dare simply open up and ask questions. What do you call that? You need to think twice. You have to be careful, right? You need to work out the question in your mind first, or maybe in the piece of paper before you ask questions. So at least it sharpens your logical thinking. Because the first thing is, at least in the initial stage, you are afraid of people laughing at you. What is this? You're asking such a stupid question. Now, Dr. Lai said, I like apple. Why do you ask what apple he wants? Right? So it's a silly question. To me, in my class, my golden rule is no one should laugh at the other student. If you laugh at the other student, I'll come after you. I'll ask you the same question and you try answer it. It's okay for the guy to answer, but please don't laugh at your friend. Right? So let them learn because they don't know. Nothing wrong with that. Right? So in my class, golden rule is cannot laugh at your friends. Right? So one thing. Now, as I said before, my parents always told me, please be polite, don't be rude. So I'll introduce myself since you have no time to introduce yourself. I know Jie is a class rep. I know him since diploma days. Jie, long time ago. So who am I? I'm not Matthew. At least you see what I look like. I think my trademark is my moustache. You can't miss me. I'm just walking around in the corridors here in the M block. Who am I? That's my name. By Wing Kin. Full name. I do not have a degree. Do you know that? I have a deep tech, deployed technology, majoring in electronics from a place called Tunku Abdul Rahman College in KL, Kuala Lumpur. Right? Why? Those my time in the 70s, there are only a few universities. Right? After finishing my Form 6, I know that I want to be I want to be an engineer, for example. So actually, my first choice was not engineer. My first choice was to be a computer programmer or computer scientist. I like to do programming. So my results are not good enough to enter university because there are only very few universities, few places, and then there are certain I call it nicely quota for people to enter university. And then next choice is I go overseas. Many of my classmates, richer ones, actually went overseas, and I actually applied overseas. I got a place. But then I look at the fees. I look at the whole package. fees, living expenses, things like that, the airplane ticket, things like that. My father said, cannot afford, too bad, right? So then I look around, what other choice do I have? So I tried applying to this place called Qatar, and I got a place. And then I got a degree, sorry, diploma in technology for electronics. Now after that, I can work. After getting my diploma, I can work. But then diploma is still a diploma, right? So at that time, you can the best you can be is you can be a assistant engineer. Then I said, assistant engineer not that attractive for me. So I said, never mind. What else can I do? Then my father said, okay, if that's the case, let's try sending you overseas. So I went to a place called Belfast in Northern Ireland, UK. So young person at that time was I think early 20s. I flew all the way to UK and then changed the flight in London and then went all the way to a place called Belfast to start at the Queen's University Belfast to do my master's in electronics, Master of Science. Now, why is that possible? Because at that point in time, Qatar's diploma, although it's called diploma, is quite high quality. It's good enough. UK, England recognizes it equivalent to a degree, right? So of course, next thing is, if I don't trust them, I can also go and do another degree. I say, right? Because if the UK, this Queen University recognizes this diploma as an equivalent to a degree and allow you to enter a master's program, right? Go for it. By the way, Queen's University, if you check now, it belongs to the Russell Group of universities. They call it Russell Group. And Russell Group essentially is a top-ranking group of universities. So only top universities will allow to join this group. This is called Russell Group. Now, after getting my master's in UK, I come back to Malaysia. Of course, return home, right? Because you can't do that. So then I went to work for a company in UK. Listen carefully. I finished my master's from Queen University of Belfast in UK. Then I come back to Malaysia. I work in a company in UK. Maybe, what am I saying? I need to open up. Xian. Does it make sense? Correct? Meaning that just copy what I said. Oh, in UK. What do I mean? Does it make sense? Again, communication. Let's see what they ask me. Open up the mic and ask me questions. Please. No? Too shy. Anyone? Okay. Good. Millie, thank you. Give Millie a clap. She's trying to open up her mic. At least I'm successful this morning. Make my day. I'm happy. At least I managed to encourage you to open your mic, hopefully. No? Millie will struggle to turn on her mic. Come on, I 1 hour here. I think you have to test after this, right? I've got a long way to go. Yeah, okay, never mind. Anyone? Chan, does it make sense to you? Okay, never mind. I'll leave it to you. Again, as I said, it's a miscommunication. I work in a place called Texas Instruments in UK. What is that? Anyone?
Texas is in America.
Texas is US, ma. You all know, isn't it? TI is a well-known IC producer, manufacturer, right? They have a plant in UK, in Malaysia. Does it make sense? Are you puzzled? Are you confused? Anyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, in UK or in Malaysia?
In UK, Malaysia. Never mind, I don't waste time. Yes! Ulu Plan. Nearby here only, stop up. Right? After a master's, I work in UK, so I tell people I work in UK. Ulu Plan, not UK. Right? So again, you see this communication. Right? I work in UK for a while as a as a product process engineer. Then you know what I do then? I look at the testing machine And then what is the yield? What's the result of testing? Say 1,000 ICs, how many come up? And then I report the numbers to US, the owner of the company, Texas Instruments in Texas, Dallas. And then I send over the ones the ICs that failed, send to them to analyze. Right? Pay is good, pay is wonderful, right? Of course, it's also quite stressful. You need to do a lot of things. So to me, it's not what I want. I'm not so-called. I know it's good to have money, but again, I like to have this something challenging for me to learn. I like technology. That's why then I find not for me. So when the Malaysian National Research Centre advertised for vacancies, they have some vacancies for researchers. I applied to join them. Right in the 1980s, late 1987, 86 at the time. So I joined that. The pay is slightly lesser, lower than this company, Texas Instruments, but I think I joined the work. Now, after working for a short while, 1 or 2 years, I look at my bosses, managers, and say, I want to be like them. Because all our bosses there at this research center have PhDs. Right? You know what's a PhD? Anyone? So you see, this lecture nowadays is very slow because I need to wait for you to reply. Right? Some call it what? No. Heng Dong. What's a PhD? You know? What's a PhD?
Professor.
No. Permanent head damage.
Yeah.
Permanent head damage. What do you call it? The Malays call it otak tak center. Actually, it's slightly back. PhD is actually a doctorate. They call it a doctorate. That means that you have the degree, bachelor's, and then your master's, and then the highest one is a PhD. Actually, there's one more. Doctorate in science. That's a different story, right? So I said, I want to be like that. I want to do a PhD. Now, guess what challenges I face? Same problem again when I face after my Form 6. What's the problem? The other one, no money. So no money because if you want to study overseas, get a PhD. US, they look at me and say you are a foreign student, international student. I'll charge you 2 times, right? 2 times and the local student fees. So if assuming they charge the local students 1,000 USD, right? 1,000 USD times 2 is 2,000 USD. And then during those days, I think exchange is about I think 6 times, 6 volumes. No, I think 6 times. 6 times times 2 is what? 14,000 for the fees alone. Then you got to pay for your meal. Coca-Cola, a small bottle is 1 USD. Let's say 1 USD times 7 is like 7 ringgit for a small bottle of Coca-Cola example. So you need a lot of money to study in the US at those days. So cannot. How UK? Roughly same story. How Australia? Same story. Then there's this small country down south, way down south, called New Zealand. New Zealand say, okay, come. Our country is very small. We don't mind you coming in, study here. Right? So that's why the fees are not so high and also got scholarship. At least I don't have to pay the fees, they pay for my fees, so it's okay, right? So that's why I did my PhD in New Zealand. And I graduated roughly 1995. Then this time after New Zealand, I come back homesick again, so I come to Malaysia. This time I do work in UK. I work in I returned back to this Malaysian National Research Centre in ICT. This one I think some of you may know who they are. So I stayed there for about 17, 18 years. And then my last position was the director for the research lab there, especially in AI. That's why. So why am I telling all this? I'm telling all this because even my master was in AI. Why? No, I think they look at me and say, you Asian, not interested. So no girlfriend there. So my master's in Queen's was also in AI. I was doing a project there to look at how do I connect 2 points together, like circuit connection, connect two ICs together, draw a line to connect them. And I do this by using AI to help me when you need to connect a few thousand points together, right? So that's what I did. So AI is there. So what I'm trying to tell you all this is because my background in AI actually has a long history, going back to 1982. Okay, it's a long time. Then I stopped work in this Malaysian Research Institute and I joined UC in 2011. No, sorry, the time was TASI, KTA, right? The time, early days, I didn't teach AI. I teach analog electronics. I do teach digital electronics to year 2 and year 3 students. Year 2 students. Then when we upgraded to a university, then the syllabus is different for the degree. Then we want to teach you AI, right? So since 2013, I've been teaching this AI paper until now. So my background in AI has a long history, covering both theory as well as practical when I'm working in this research institute. Okay? Right, so I spent about 18 years. My last position was director for this multimodal signal processing research center. In addition, I'm also, because of my background, of my experience, knowledge in AI, I'm also invited as a PhD examiner, this higher degree from few universities. Who was it? Nottingham, Malaysia, Curtin, Malaysia, Sunway University as a PhD examiner, right? So that's why. I'm also the master's examiner, again in the field of AI, because you need to be, you can't simply invite you to examine a master's in, say, accounting. It has to be something that you are good at. So they believe that I actually have experience in AI, so they invited me to the master's examiner in AI from University Malaya, University Technology Petronas in Perak, Toronto, right? Among the few universities that they invited as examiner. So I think there's not much time left, so I will skip all this video. Maybe later I'll pass you this link for you to look at. Now, basically, automation, AI, right? AI adds intelligence to a machine, right? What are the benefits? So they can replace humans in those nasty, boring, and maybe even dangerous jobs, right? Dangerous job means that maybe due to radiation, nuclear radiation, right? Imagine you need to send someone inside to check the nuclear plant, the nuclear reactor, like Fukushima, damaged, but it's still highly radioactive, right? You cannot send humans. I asked the same question last time to the RMA students, and I said, how much do you think I need to pay you if I ask you to go into a nuclear reactor where it's still highly radioactive? Then someone said, as long as you pay me $3,000 US, I don't mind going in. Right? So I think many of us will not dare go in because it's highly radioactive. You go in there, you have money, but the money will then be used to pay for your medical bill because your body will be damaged, will have problems because of the radioactivity of the radiation. Right? So what else? Now, for the simpler, this is actually a report in our Malaysian Sun newspaper in the 17th December 2019, right? Because of automation and AI, right? Expected there will be 30,000 jobs lost. Simple jobs will be replaced, right? I think in the future too, some of these, what do you call it, lecturers' position also can be gone in the near future, not so soon, right? Right, so let's come back to this paper. BTEC 4413, right? So basically is artificial intelligence. It's an introduction to artificial intelligence. It's not the advanced, it's only introduction. So what you hope to learn? Objective of this course is to introduce you to some of the basic elements of modern artificial intelligence for you to appreciate its usefulness in complementing, not replacing. I think you know what it means complementing. It's only to support, complementing humans to perform useful tasks. That is the objective of this paper, right? Of this course. They only introduce you to some of the basic elements, not the advanced elements. Right? Now, what happens when you complete this course successfully? You will be able to design and implement some of the key components of the intelligent systems of moderate complexity. So, few keywords here. You're able to design and implement such intelligent systems, but only of moderate complexity, not advanced, not highly complex, only moderate complexity. So this is what can these components do, right? You can see here they're actually good at computing, but they're not intelligent. They can compute, but they're not intelligent. So it's your job to make sure when these things put together, it can help you can become intelligent, right? So you need all this hardware to make your system intelligent. So again, lack of time, I think you can always go to YouTube if you can understand what's AI and go and spend your time going to some of those YouTube lectures on what you mean by AI. Okay, now AI actually the key point here is that it is multidisciplinary. So it consists of different disciplines. For example, it includes some elements of psychology, computer science. You need to do programming, philosophy. Who am I? What am I here? What does it mean to be intelligent? Those are the things that philosophers will ask. Neuroscience, how does the brain works? Mathematics, of course, right? A lot of calculations, a lot of mathematics involved. Discrete mathematics and things like that. Engineering, signal processing, how to process the signal so that your AI system can process it and make some sense out of it all. And of course, physics. So all these will combine and become your AI. Right? So it's actually that's why we keep it at the last in your final year, because you need all these supporting players, supporting actors for AI to work. Again, same thing. Lack of time. I can't show this. This is some of the examples, and again, of course, this is outdated because AI, as you know, move very fast, right? So even though I show here 2018, right? These are some of the areas that is used in things like robotics, self-driving, voice assistance. I think this is Siri, for example, some of these helpers and other things. Maybe also some handphones. Able to you can use your voice to dial certain handphones. Healthcare, some of the consumer electronics, and also financial advisor. Right. So these are some examples. Of course, we know that if you don't know how to get from point A to point B, the fastest ways that help you, and also Google to help you find things as in searching for things. Right, this is part of it. And then this is actually Facebook also uses a lot AI. They use it to personalize your newsfeed, things that interest you, right? And don't simply send you, for example, things like Russian movie, things like that. You know? So they only send things which are relevant. So they need to check what interests you. And of course, we're looking at maybe a few hundred million people using Facebook. So they can't have people sitting there, right, analyzing the data. So we need to use AI to help do that. Online shopping, Amazon, right, helping you to, if you say you want to buy ironing board, pizza stone, Android charger, etc. Right, Amazon using AI will help you to find your relevant, give you a list of most relevant products related to your search. At the same time, next time when you come back to this Amazon online shopping, they will tell you what other things. Since you're looking for ironing board, I know you want into housework, so I'll tell you things which interest you, right? Maybe electric iron, because you want to maybe tell you that this is a good deal, things like that. In the finance, stock market prediction, I think some of you actually wanted to do that in your FIP. So actually, you also want to do that. So AI is also doing that, but it's also, I think, it's also not that accurate because you find it's sometimes, especially in the Malaysian stock market, especially unless you get the right descriptors or features, your AI system cannot work very well. Now, for those of you who are majoring in electrical engineering, you'll be happy to know that AI is also relevant to what you learning in electrical engineering. For example, AI is used in power grid management. AI is used in virtual power plant, looking at forecasting also. AI is also can be used to help you to manage your power consumption better, right? And also helping them to feed the power to, especially in the cold time, in the countries which have winter, cold weather, because you know that when the temperature drops, you know that more people will turn on the heaters, things like that. Of course, same applies here, like in US now, when they're experiencing a very hot climate. Okay, now you will not be doing this, at least in this paper, in this course, you're not building robots or androids. In UK, as early as 2015, people see the so-called the side of the bad side of AI, so they are afraid of that. Why? Because they are afraid that the robots are coming. I mean, robots here, what they mean is that intelligent systems are coming and they will destroy your livelihoods by replacing your jobs. Right? So you can see here, this is a snapshot, a picture of the auditorium, the hall where we conducted this lecture. And of course, due to lack of time, I can't show you. I have a video, quite interesting, when we talk about this and say, will these robots replace, or will they replace you? Is it that dangerous? Right? So this one is there. Now, again, don't just trust me. Look at these numbers. This is a analysis report by this looking at the companies in different sectors. Now, these are all the different industry sectors. For example, telecommunications, retail, right, shopping, and also financial services, automotive, cars industry, and semiconductor industry. And how many of these companies are investing in AI? The numbers are actually small, but it will grow in the years to come. But you can see almost every sector, almost every major sector is actually interested in AI, right? And for those of you who saw the yesterday's paper, I'll share with you tomorrow. I'll scan the picture. Dadi Plantation, a big Malaysian company, plantation company in Malaysia, actually have advertised a full page, a few vacancies in called jobs of engineers in AI. They're looking at, I think, a few things. I'll share it tomorrow. Okay. And then, again, lack of time, I'll skip through very fast. Sorry. Okay, now this is the course plan. I think this will be uploaded to the intranet. So, consisting of basically introduction. Now we started on the search, right? And then the next topic is Excel systems. It will take about 2 weeks. And then another 3 weeks will be on fuzzy logic systems or fuzzy inference systems, 3 weeks. And then the neural networks is about 4 weeks, also including a bit of deep learning. And then the last 2 topics here, those are the advanced topics. Will be on strong intelligence as well as support recognition. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different topics for this paper. How is the assessment? Will be coursework 40%, consisting of only 2 items. That is your written assignment, 2 person to a group, and also individual that report, 1 person per report, only 1 report. This is the first report. This is on the search, introduction to search. Examination will be 2.5 hours. I think will carry 60% of the marks. And then this is the recommended text, Levinsky. It's although it's an old book, but it's still relevant for at least some of the material there. At least a starting point. I don't think AI is changing very fast. You can also look at other books. Now, feedback. So we welcome feedback. Now, if you think the course has been done well, has been covered well, please say so in your feedback. Even though we say it's not very well, but it's okay lah. So we also put it in, acceptable. Now, if you think that the areas you think are not can be better presented, better delivered, right? Tell us how it can be further improved. For example, how would you have done it, right? In case of me lecturing now, switch the role. Now here, as a lecturer, now, you lecture the whole class. How would you do this to make sure everyone will pay attention? Example. Now, even if you have nothing much to say, we still want you to at least take the course. How do you rate the course? Now, please be professional in the assessment. Look at the course and then see how the course can improve. This applies also to other courses. I'll say that again, with lack of time. Now, what other areas does not work? You can see AI seems to work very well. Wonders, magic, bullet, magic solution. That's not. Now, the AI does not work when you cannot predict, right? So it is more technically feasible. It works better when you're able to predict your physical activity than unpredictable ones. So AI doesn't work in areas where you cannot predict what will happen, right? Things like construction, right? How we raise outdoor animals doesn't work very well. Now, what about courses in AI in demand? So we look at the 30 courses and then find that AI is actually number 5. Now, good news is electrical engineering is actually 3 and mechatronics is 7. These are the popular courses in young people like yourself want to study. Ground rules, quickly run through again. Do not expect examination tips, but we will revise the lectures to prepare you for examinations. You are again encouraged to pay attention during lectures and tutorials, as examination will be based on this. So within the lectures, covered lectures or tutorials. Now, please be informed that now you're now at university. The learning culture is very different from what you may have. There's no spoon feeding. Now, in this online mode, it can be challenging to communicate, but you are most welcome to seek clarifications if you don't understand, until you understand as well, right? Now, the reverse is that if you do not ask, I can only assume that you understand, right? So either the lectures or and all answers to my questions. Now, please try to respond, answer when you're invited to. I invite you to respond, to say what you think of this. Please try to answer, right? So quickly as well. The whole class is waiting for you. Final words. Easy paper not. So it's not an easy paper, although some of you believe so. So you can still fail if you don't pay attention, if you don't study, of course. Now stay focused, even though you may not like the subject. A small percentage of you may not like this subject. You find that it's troublesome to study, but you have to study. It's a very important technical area which you may need again in your professional career. That's why I said before, why this paper? Because we believe that this is something that you will come across again when you start to work in the year to come. Now, this is your final year, and the sooner you can pass and clear all your papers, the sooner you can graduate and work. Right? So I like this guy, and he said, you might not like this paper, but you must. I think I've sorry about that, slightly watered down a bit because a lot of things to cover, and also because of online work, it's slower to interact with you. So I'll be here for a short while. In case you have questions, like old days, you still have questions to ask the lecturer, I'll still be here to entertain your questions. Old days, at least you're shy, you just come to me and talk to me one-to-one, at least the rest of the class cannot hear you. So here, no choice, because not online, so even if you ask me, the whole class can hear, right? So with that, thank you for your patience and also for your time. Hopefully you learned something this morning. At least learn about my background, whether whatever I say makes sense, whether I'm knowledge in the field. I think will lead you to guide you in this next 12 weeks. If nothing else, you all can go off, and I'll still be here for a short while in case some of you have questions. And so bye-bye and see you tomorrow.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.